May I now invite Dr. Siew, head of the DS Academy, to deliver her opening address. Dr. Siew, please.
A very good morning to you, graduates, friends of the Dyslexia Association of Singapore, DAS, Mr. Eric Lee, Chairman of the DAS, and fellow DAS colleagues. Today, we gather here to celebrate the achievements of our graduates and the quiet, unseen sacrifices of family members and significant others who have supported you through this journey. I was privileged to hear stories of dedication, sacrifice, strength, and resilience from many of you. Noteworthy of mention is that this is also the batch of students who were affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Allow me to share two of these stories with you. Jing Hui is a kindergarten teacher who took the Specialist Diploma in Learning Support for Specific Learning Differences at the recommendation of her supervisor. And they were confident it would equip her well to provide literacy support for preschoolers who are not keeping up. Let me share this student mom's typical school day. Jing Hui's part-time work schedule allowed her to attend lectures via Zoom in the morning, pick up her 5-year-old child from school in the afternoon, teach him, complete household chores, and then spend her nights on assignments and research. At the peak of the pandemic, the circuit breaker restrictions further limited her childcare options. Restrictions on movement meant that she could no longer rely on grandparents to babysit while she attended online classes. So her husband had to take leave, took over the caregiving responsibilities while she focused on her studies. Student moms like her are also known as octopus moms in the literature. She is but one of the many octopus moms in this hall. Octopus moms assume both the traditional role of woman as the heart and keeper of the home, as well as the modern role as co-breadwinners in the family. So they constantly juggle the heavy and sometimes unseen demands of both roles. They stumble, but never give up. There are so many more octopus student moms in this hall and many more stories of grit and resilience that I have not been able to share. Pamela Rodriguez, an academic directress of an inclusive Montessori preschool in the Philippines, showed incredible dedication to her studies by completing both the Specialist Diploma in Learning Support for Specific Learning Differences and then the Master of Arts in Special Educational Needs, Additional Learning Needs. She took 7 years to get here. And in the pre-pandemic years, she flew in and out of Singapore to attend the taught modules of the Specialist Diploma, while holding on to her responsibilities in school and at home in Philippines. The cost of the Specialist Diploma for Pamela as a foreign student was double of what most local students would pay because of the additional air tickets that she has to buy and the accommodation that she has to fork out for. Yet, this was a price she was willing to bear because of her thirst for SEN knowledge. She came from a country whose needs for SEN services far outweigh the provision for such services. And she eventually graduated from the Specialist Diploma after many trips to Singapore. The immediate usefulness of her knowledge and skills inspired her to continue her studies with the DAS Academy, this time on the Master of Arts. The COVID-19 pandemic struck when Pamela was doing her master's, and all learning went online. So as a foreign student, she did not enjoy the community of support that those of you who are based in Singapore had. Learning for her had to be independent, self-driven, and self-directed. Yet, she was proactive in seeking help and wrote to the various lecturers whenever she was in doubt or had clarifications to make. Despite the challenges of not having a community of support, she never missed a deadline and attained stellar scores in the Master of Arts program, assuming the honor of a valedictorian. So these are just two of the many stories of strength and persistence in our graduates who hold multiple roles. So graduates, as you complete your studies with us, you are stepping out to a sea of change that has swept the special needs sector. The SEN support landscape within general education schools has improved significantly in the last 20 years. For example, in the past 5 years, the total number of SEN officers and allied educators in mainstream schools has increased by more than 40% over the last 5 years. We now have 700 SEN officers in mainstream schools. This non-teaching staff who work with students in mainstream schools who have mild special needs such as dyslexia, autism, and ADHD. The role of the SEN officers has also assumed significance in recent years. 10 years ago, teachers regarded them as babysitters for children who were too challenging for teachers to handle, reported by Lim, Wong, and Tan, 2014. Yet, a recent research I had conducted showed a huge transformation in the SEN officer role. Our SEN officers are no longer the only agents of inclusion in school. They work through teachers to help the students now. SEN officers model SEN support for teachers. And this way, teachers see, learn, and imagine SEN support, giving them the courage to step out of their traditional teaching role to help students with SEN. The active participation of mainstream teachers in SEN support greatly augments the current model of SEN officer deployment in mainstream schools, where each school is only staffed with only 1 or 2 SEN staff. Within general education schools, the professional development of teachers has also improved, allowing them to better identify and employ teaching strategies. Compared to 10 years ago, the training requests that DAS Academy receives from mainstream schools has tripled. This signifies that schools are taking greater ownership in the support of these children, placing responsibility on the frontliners, the teachers, and are clearly adopting a whole school approach to SEN support. To promote inclusivity, the government has also set up partnerships between special schools and general education schools to promote intermingling between children. You would have heard of the Anglo-Chinese School, ACS, with a reputation for drawing students from higher socio-economic backgrounds, announcing in February this year that it would establish a special education school that takes in students with moderate special education needs who have autism. So with the schools having adjoining compounds and shared facilities and infrastructure, there will be more opportunities for joint school-level programs and events to promote intermingling among the children. We are almost 20 years into our inclusive journey. And if I can compare this to the human development span, we are no longer children and teens. We are entering adulthood, the period in the human life in which full physical, intellectual development has been attained. So this can be an awesome time in our lives as we become more autonomous, independent, dream, and make plans for the future. So graduates, you are stepping out at a time like this. The foundation has been built, the path has been laid. It is now time to build a finer and deeper appreciation and acceptance of SEN. We still have some way to go in achieving the inclusive classroom, where teachers offer options and flexibility in their instruction so that all children, regardless of learning speeds and abilities, can be motivated to learn and are able to access knowledge and demonstrate this knowledge effectively. We also have some way to go in achieving the ideal state of inclusion, where children with special needs study effectively alongside those without the need to send them to separate schools. So as you graduate, these are some of the things that will motivate you, inspire you, and propel you in adulthood. But of course, before you do all this, please remember to celebrate your hard-earned success with your supporters. Thank you.